it's Ashley, your scrapping nerd, and I'm back today with a layout for day 4 of Chrissy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches Series 14. And today's sketch is from Brandy Jo, and I am doing, it's a 2-pager, and it's like I haven't done 2 pages in a long time, and then it's back to back. So I actually enjoyed this one. I pulled in my Ciao Bella Modern Times collection here, and when I say collection, I just have the journaling parts and the cut aparts. I never got the 12 by 12 papers because I have enough vintage style in my stash that I think would go with this collection. So I just pulled out 2 from my what I think looks like vintage backgrounds stack, and I'm just going through to see which, because on the back of the cut aparts is just like a piece of paper from the collection. And so I wanted to decide, because in Brandy Jo's sketch you can see that the corners are ripped on each of the pages. And so I wanted to see what I wanted peeking out, and I decided that I really liked this brick pattern. And what I like about the cut aparts or like the smaller paper pads is that the images are actually smaller, so the bricks don't look huge. It's a smaller brick pattern, and so it looks good up in the corner. And so I really liked that. And so I measured out the length of it. I cut the page in half, the brick paper in half, so that I can use it for both sides of the 2-page layout. And then I ripped my corner, and I had measured so that I didn't rip too much because I don't have another of this brick paper. So I was a little nervous. I wanted to make sure I didn't rip too much of it and then not be able to cover it. So I ripped it, and then I used my Tim Holtz Distress tool to distress it even more because I wanted it to look really ripped, like really distressed ripped on the edge. And I feel like when I just rip it, it doesn't have the same effect as if I rip it and then distress it. And so that's just a personal preference of mine. And so I was making sure that it all evened out, and I used my Distress ink in Black Soot, and I inked all the edges of each of the 12 by 12 background paper and the brick paper, just to give it that kind of older, dirtier look. I was thinking about it, and people ask, they're always like, what's one item that you think you couldn't live without in your craft stash? And I really think for me it's my Distress inks. Like, I start out, I'll either not pull them in, I'm thinking, okay, I won't need to ink anything on this layout, and then I always do. And so I think that I am just obsessed with inking the edges of all of my papers. I like how it makes things pop off backgrounds. I like how it hides the white core of paper. I like when I do my cut files or paper piecing, and you ink it. It just makes everything look so much crisper and defined. And so I think that is my item. Like, I can rip a paper, I don't need scissors, but I cannot make it apparently without my inks and being able to put those on my layout. But anyways, I digress. So I have this stamp that I pulled in, and it's a bigger stamp, but I started out trying to only do parts of the stamp, and I was using my ink blending tool to put the ink on the stamp to then put it on the background paper because I wanted it to be really light. And then I used my brayer to help push down because, like I said, it's such a bigger stamp. And so on this side, everything came out really light, and I like that. When you're in person looking at the layout, you can see it a lot better. You can't really see it on the video here, but it's just kind of the light stamping in the background. And so I like how that turned out. And it also kind of pulls in my inking of the edges. But in the cut aparts was these film strips, and so on this side, I wanted to put a film strip down each part of the pictures here. And in Brandy Jo's sketch, she had kind of a row of photos here, and then she also had another row of photos, and I'm actually going to use some cut aparts to mimic that, but I wanted to get my photos here down the center. And I didn't want to break the film strip, so you'll see I'll just kind of cover the part where the two photos separate, and you can still see the film strip. I use this little board. I don't know what that's called. The little, like, where they open and shut it. It's like, this is the scene and then go kind of thing. That board to cover up the spot where the two photos separate. And so now I'm going to work on the left side. And on her sketch, she has two vertical photos, but I'm just going to use one horizontal photo here. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the right side by ripping and then inking all the edges and distressing with a distress tool, and then putting that brick paper in that torn corner. So while I'm doing that, make sure you go and check out the Facebook page for Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, where you can get all the inspiration. You can see what everyone else did with this sketch. And make sure you check out Brandy Jo. This is a beautiful sketch that she made, and I loved working with it. These photos I probably could have got onto one 12 by 12, but this was fun. Like I said, I haven't done many 2-page layouts in a while, and I liked how she had this one set up, and the ripping on the corners just helped kind of tie in those 2 pages. Also, I want to thank everyone that's liked and subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit those buttons below. I'd love to have you. But you can see with my stamp on this side, I thought, okay, what if I use the actual ink pad and put the ink on it? And so in the top corner there, it came out really crisp. I put it down with the brayer, and so I didn't want my stamp to be that crisp. I wanted it to kind of fade in the background. So I'm going to use a lot of my ephemera to help hide the fact that, or at least try to hide the fact that that stamp came out really dark black with the ink, and then the other ones around the page are just really light. So I took the other film strip and I kind of put it at an angle so that you didn't see that harsh line that the stamp created. And then I'm going to put a bunch of things up in the top right corner just to try to hide the fact that it's so dark up there. I pulled in my Thicker's Good Things, and it had this note, and it said 1, 2, and 3. And for some reason, I just thought that seemed very cinema, very movie theater. So I put the note up there, and then I have the 1 on this side, and when I pull the pages back together, you'll see I'll put the 2 and the 3 on the other one. And I just really like the addition of this foam black to the layout. And so I started to try to just fill in with some ephemera around here. I really liked this vintage light bulb, and it moved around a lot over here, but I did find a home for it, and it's not right here, but it will be on this page. It's just going to move around a bit. And like I said, that film strip is there to help try to hide the crispness of the stamp that I did on the right. At least now I know the way to get a really good crisp stamping is to not use the ink blender to do the ink when it's a big stamp, but actually use the ink pad. And so it's just funny because I was like, oh, that worked really good. And usually my stamping is not good. It's definitely an area I need to work on. Number 1, to use my stamps, and then number 2, to actually know how to use my stamps. And so I thought it was funny that it came out so good, and I didn't want it to. But the rest of again, you can't really tell because it's so light, but I did put more of the stamp around the back on this side as well. And the sayings around are just like star, fame, Hollywood. These are pictures of us in California Adventure, and they have this cool, it's a billboard. When you stand in front of it, it looks like it's a whole street, like you're standing in front of the street. And you can see on the right side at the bottom there is us taking a picture from the actual street. And if you look in the back, you can see the billboard that we're standing in front here. And so it's really kind of cool that when you take the picture, it looks like you're standing in front of the street, but it's just a billboard. But you can see I'm just adding some more of those black foam bits around the layout. I just really like how that kind of tied in some elements with the page, and that light bulb finally ended up above the photo on this side. But that is the layout, guys. Make sure, like I said, you check out all the information below. thank you again for all the likes and comments. I love interacting with you guys. So if you comment, I definitely will get back with you. And this is day 4 of the sketches. So we're on a roll here, guys. Lots of inspiration, and they're exclusive sketches. And so they are designed explicitly for Chrissy's Beautiful Life 30 Days sketches. So that's it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.